I've lost Ron Boone. Where is he? The Timberwolves took him too. They dominated all night. We'll talk about it. Coming back. Will Ron Boone be here or not? It's next on Post.
You are Locked On Jazz, your daily podcast on the Utah Jazz. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
The Minnesota Timberwolves ended this one in a hurry tonight. Anthony Edwards launched 21 points in the first quarter, outscoring the Jazz 21-20 in the first. They were ahead 17-5. The Jazz got it down to 4. Minnesota stretched it out to double digits with about 7-8 minutes left in the second quarter. We never got inside double digits again. This was the difference between a young, developing team and I would call them title contender, Ron.
I need to go in a different direction.
Are we really going to go here?
So I had to leave.
Right.
I had to go to the restroom.
Yeah, right.
So I'm thinking at the urinal.
Oh, God, I don't want to know this.
We're picking Anthony Edwards over Alexander, right?
Well, that's the question: is would you take Anthony Edwards or Shai Gilgeous? This is how we wrap it.
Shai is the one that's they're picking. They think he's going to be the MVP of the league.
Right, but those are two totally different skill sets.
So why?
But well, let's talk about it. These are two totally different skill sets. Being the MVP of the regular season and being the better player in a playoff series. So I would take Anthony Edwards in a playoff series. He takes 9 off-the-bounce threes a game. It's generally probably the most unguardable shot in the league. He shoots 41% on off-the-bounce threes. Of all of the players that take at least 2.5 off-the-bounce threes in the league, he's the second highest percentage behind Zach LaVine. And he takes the most of anyone in the league. Now maybe this is fine for Oklahoma City or anyone else, so other teams, but you cannot play any defense against Anthony Edwards other than switching.
I haven't seen anyone defend Shai either.
Right, but you can start to – I think you can – you either have to play a switch or a trap on Anthony Edwards on every play.
And they try that against Shai. Now, I'm not saying – I would take –
And I think that's a better –
I like his game.
Yeah.
I like his toughness. I like his physical size. But the argument here, I think it's a valid argument.
Yeah, no, hey, these are two of the greatest players in the game.
Right.
And the question is at the end of the year, who's going to be – Ant's going to be – when the playoffs start, Shai's going to be the number 1 or 2 player in the NBA. He or Jokic. And when the playoffs end, who's going to be the who's going to be the third or fourth best? And maybe Oklahoma City's just better. And then it gets really interesting. By the way, when you start trapping Ant, what do you like? And you don't have, and you start trapping Ant because Rudy's on the floor and he's a non-offensive player. What happens, right? That's where Rudy becomes a little bit, maybe a bit of a problem for them. Offensively, like we've seen, is that, I'm going to bring – you come set the pick with Rudy. We're trapping it every time, and then you're going to hit Rudy at 15 feet in the middle of the floor, and he's got to make a decision. We've lived this story.
Yes.
That's not great for Minnesota. But that's not Ant's fault.
No. I just think it's something that – it's a talk show topic.
Right, sure. Okay, but if we just go first-team All-NBA. So first-team All-NBA this year is Shai, Jokic – Anthony Edwards or Donovan? I think Anthony Edwards.
Donovan's having a great year, man.
Yeah, I'd have to look.
This is going to be...
Tatum probably gets in there, right? The Boston's got the next best record. And unless I'm forgetting, that's Embiid's not, right? Obviously, the guys that Luka's not going to be an first-team All-NBA this year.
And probably LeBron either.
And Anthony Davis is not first-team All-NBA this year. So I'm Giannis. So that really it's going to be Ant or Shai, Jokic, Giannis, Tatum, and either Ant or Donovan Mitchell is the first-team All-NBA guard.
Okay, which player makes this team better? I know that Edwards is averaging about 6 assists, almost 5 assists, about 5 assists a game.
I think equally beautiful. I don't think either of them hijacked the game at all.
Yes, that's a great way of putting it.
I think Paulo Banchero, we saw
that the other night.
Yeah, he scored 30 tonight. I think he hijacks the game from his team. That's a 30 I don't like.
So he gets numbers and they mean nothing.
And they lose.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's really interesting. I mean, Ant's start tonight was patient. I mean, 21 in the quarter, and we scored 20. Like, that's crazy. Shai can do that too, though. Like, Shai's going off for 50 all the time right now.
And the point is, we just talked about his off the bounce threes, and he all of a sudden he starts the ball game off and knocks down 3 or 4 of them right from the start.
I mean, what might get interesting here in this conversation is if Ant and Shai get dominant and they both start taking the ball out of his hands, everyone takes the ball out of their hands. Do you believe in Jalen Williams and Isaiah Joe and Chet Holmgren, or do you believe in Julius Randle, Jaden McDaniels, Dante DiVincenzo, Mike? I'm not entirely sure. I don't think Minnesota's top 8 isn't as good as any top 8 also. I want no part of Minnesota in the playoffs, but I've liked Minnesota since they got Rudy. Like, I think Rudy's great, so he has obviously got some playoff problems, but
we'll see.
All right. Let's go to the Jazz on this one. They just kind of got boat raced. So Lowry had a good little stretch. We're always talking about the youngsters. There was actually one really good play I liked by Isaiah Collier tonight. This was the first team that legitimately just did not guard Isaiah Collier. And so Isaiah Collier would get off the ball, and his guy would just go stand in the middle of the lane. So every time we drove, we ran into him. And we swung it to Collier, and he drove the lane to the basket for a layup. He's got to start doing things like that. I thought he did a really nice job with that.
Yeah. I think just being reliable, and as we hear the coaches time and time again, and we just have to listen to the coaches. They tell us everything. I mean, even sometimes indirectly, they'll tell us everything. It's the decisions you make and how quickly you can make the right decision. Is he getting there?
Kyle hit a few more threes tonight. He hit 2 of them. He went 4 of 7. He did get kind of bogarted defensively, but it was hard to tell whether that was because he had 3 fouls and he was trying to stay out of foul trouble.
He was 2 for 4 from 3. He was 4 for 7 from the field.
Oh, 2 for 4 from 3.
Yeah.
But what did he defensively? Was he just trying to stay in the game and not get in foul trouble? Was he just getting manhandled?
Once he did. I mean, he just didn't want to pick up that 3rd foul but for the most part, he's going to have to face guys trying to bully him. You build a reputation by fighting back, and he's not doing that consistently right now, or not at all.
22 turnovers tonight for the Jazz, and they're not great turnovers, frankly.
No, they're not. I mean, the coaches talk about making quick decisions, making the right decisions. So are we getting in trouble trying to make reads that are not there, and then you throw in the turnovers that you're trying to create something that's not there?
I mean, there's 2 types of turnovers that just have to go away. One is literally where you can't dribble because the defender strips it from you. Like, we're in the NBA. You should be able to dribble. Like, if you can't, get off the ball.
Yeah.
2 is like the inbound play, the outlet pass, the just lack of the behind the back pass that rolls by Walker Kessler into the backcourt. Like, seriously? Like, those are the ones that have to go away.
I think also the ones that has to go away is the dribbling in traffic.
Sure.
And I think, David, what we're looking at is guys that played a certain way in college, and they need to make some adjustments at this level that just haven't gotten there yet, or will they ever be able to get there?
I thought Chris Finch's comment pregame was really interesting, that they're making quicker decisions, so they're turning the ball over less.
Well, and that's okay. That's what we're talking about.
But it's interesting. It's counterintuitive, right?
Right.
Like, you would think, well, if you hold it and you're really secure with it, then you're not going to turn it over. But what actually ends up happening is you hold it, the defender gets up on you, the defense gets set, you got nowhere to go, and now you're in trouble. Now you have to put it on the deck and you get it stripped, or you have to do something to create a passing lane, whereas if you catch it and decide, you don't turn it over nearly as much.
Yeah. And the reason, and you and I was discussing this on the plane as we watched Minnesota play, is that they don't necessarily. I watched Collier a couple of times tonight. I mean, he's calling for a pick, calling for someone to come over and set a pick for him. That shouldn't happen, I think. I think he shouldn't have to call Walter Kessler over to set a pick. I mean, I think, okay, Walter should automatically come over there and start something, just get everyone moving. And I think that's one of the problems we're having with probably with some of our young guys.
All right. Walker went 1 of 6 from 3. Did you like his 3-point shooting?
I loved it. It's a matter
Not
of
as well, right?
Everybody else taking him.
I mean, he also has earned it, it feels like. He's just gone through enough this year. He's played well enough. 15 points, 19 rebounds for Walker tonight. He did all right against Rudy, though he was on the floor when they got blitzed. Cody Williams played 19 minutes, had 4 field goal attempts, was just a non-factor tonight. This was kind of back to – this was a very physical, athletic game, and Cody does not have that match yet on that one. Any reliability square pluses tonight, Ron Boone?
I don't see anything that really, really, really stands out other than Kessler's 19 rebounds. He had 5 of them on the offensive glass, 15 points. And you could probably give Kyle something – a half of one, maybe. No.
Oh, you go back in the halves. We're in the cookie.
No, we're not going to.
You know who I'm giving you reliabilities +2?
What's that?
Our first segment tonight was as good as we've been all year, and we
give ourselves
down 17-5 at the end of the quarter, and we laid out the game perfectly, and then all the prep went poof like that in a span of Anthony Edwards 5 minutes. All of our pregame work went poof. So we deserve a reliability plus for at least having the pregame notes and the scouting report from Ron Boone exactly about what they wanted to do, not shoot the floaters, and then they went 1 of 7 from floaters, and me having the breakdown on Anthony Edwards, and he shoots 41% on 7 off the bounce threes, the most of anyone in the league at the second highest percentage, and he buried 3 of them in the first 5 minutes. So we get a reliability plus. Dang it! Have a great night. See you guys tomorrow.